Hey guys, this is Elizabeth, Finding Elizabeth, and it's the first time that's ever happened to me. I got almost all the way through making this video and somebody called me and I stopped it in the middle, so I have to start over. Anyway, how are you? Are you guys sick of me yet? I've made like 9 million videos this week. Whoops, I'm actually a little sick of me this week. What's going on? Today is, Thursday, April 14th, 2016. It's my 2-year surgery. I had surgery, vertical sleeve gastrectomy on, sorry, I need to get this right. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy on April 14th, 2014. So, 2 years post-op. And I went to the dentist today, so I was waiting to make my 2-year surgery until the Novocaine wore off. And now it's 9:30, which is past my bedtime, so I don't know how good this video is going to be. So last night I watched my 1-year surgery video. Oh, first of all, I want to just say thank you to everybody who sent me the most amazing, kind, wonderful, lovely messages today. There'll probably come a time when I'm not all about this anniversary of my surgery date, but right now I still feel like it's an anniversary sort of my rebirth. So I post about it on both my Facebook pages and Instagram and wherever else anybody will listen. I talked about it. So maybe next year I won't do that as much, but this year I'm still doing it. So last night I watched my 1-year surgery video. And what I talked about in that video were my top 10 powerful moments of that first year. Well, of course, your moments in the first year are a little bit more powerful and significant than they are in the second year because that's the year that the most drastic changes happen. So I'm going to talk about my top 10 powerful moments for this year, but I also wanted to touch on really briefly what's changed in that year. And I haven't put a whole lot of thought into this part. I wrote up my powerful moments last night, but today I was thinking about this. And so what's changed? Well, my weight's changed, not a huge amount. Today I stepped on the scale and I was 204 pounds, which is kind of crazy because that's a little higher than I've been lately. But it is what it is for whatever reason. I'm not totally sure why because I haven't eaten much this week, but whatever. So that's a 20-pound loss. On this day last year I was 224 pounds. So that's a 20-pound loss over the last year, which is not huge, but it's also not a gain. And if I lose 20 pounds in this next year, I'll be awesome because then I will finally have hit my goal. 25 pounds. 29 pounds based on 204, but whatever, you get my drift. So what are the things that have changed between this year and last year? Well, number one thing that has changed is that weight loss surgery is not my number one primary focus like it was for last year. Scotty RNY talked about this, even though he's a relative newbie who's already reached his goal when I haven't, 2 years out, but yeah, whatever. He talked about this a little bit in his video this week, which is that when those things that are novel and new when you're first starting out your journey become just kind of normal. And that's where I am about a lot of things. I mean, I realize it when I go to the grocery store, the things I would not buy a tenth of the things that I used to buy at the grocery store. I mean, I am certainly not perfect, and I will eat some pizza, and I'll eat some donuts, and I'll eat some cake. But in the grocery store, and in, probably 80% of the time, it's protein and produce. And if I get something like sweet at the store, it will be like I will buy a donut, or I will buy one of those like little teeny single serving sizes of ice cream. I will buy something that's manageable so I won't have the food at home. I'm fortunate that I just have to worry about feeding me, so I don't have to feed other people and have that food around. But anyway, physical fitness is a natural part of my life. Walking is a natural part of my life. I mean, all these things are just normal now, where last year, probably at this time, they were still kind of new. So that's one change. What else did I write down about change? Okay, this is funny. This was a change in that tonight, went to the dentist, got home, and have basically been communicating with people, like actually talking to people since I got home on the phone. And I used to make a joke of saying, oh, I hate people. I don't hate people. I love people. And I hate the telephone. I prefer Google Hangout now, but I don't hate the telephone. So, yeah, that's very different. What else is different? I moved. I'm in a new house. That's different. I'm 50 now. I was in my 40s last year at this time. I actually started having sex again, which I hadn't had in like 5 years before. Okay, maybe that's TMI, but anyway, sorry. So there are lots of things that are different this year than last year. So who knows what's going to be different next year. Okay, top 10 powerful moments post weight loss surgery in my second year post-op. First of all, how did 2 years go by this fast? I mean, seriously, it seems like yesterday that I was waking up. My surgery wasn't until the afternoon, so I don't think I had to be there till like noon. And I was in the shower and I was thinking, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? I am never going to be able to eat these foods that have like sustained me and comforted me through all of these years. But the reality is I was able to eat them again, although at that moment I didn't think I would be able to. So anyway, 2 years passed. Oh, here's another thing that's different this time from last year. So I watched my 1 year video last night, and I looked significantly younger last year than I do this year. That 20 pounds is like here, yeah. It's really taking its toll on my face. But anyway, I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. Okay, my top 10 most... Sorry. It's way past my bedtime, people. I wish someone wouldn't have called me in the middle of making this video before, because then I would be done. But I feel sort of obliged to do a video on my 2 year anniversary. Not like I haven't done 27 videos already this week. So, top 10 powerful moments of my second year post-op. And except for the last two, which are my favorite, these just are in the order that they came to me. They're in no particular order of importance. So, the first one was one of my clients has a film festival that takes place in Arkansas. Last year was the first year. I'm getting ready to go again in a couple weeks. It's a lot of fun. Last year, one of the sponsors was Fitbit. Right before we had gone to Arkansas, I had actually lost my Fitbit. And in the sponsor village, Fitbit had a booth, and they would every hour do some kind of physical fitness challenge where you could win a Fitbit. I don't remember any of them other than the plank one. But, you know, that was the time when I was really, like, doing the plank thing. So, I mean, now I could probably only do a minute. But at that time, planking was my thing. And so on the last day of the festival, I decided, hey, I'm going to compete with all these typical people to win a Fitbit and see how long I can plank. So I planked for 4 minutes. 4 minutes, that's a long time. I could not do that today, I don't think. But, you know, I was not the first. Number one, I competed with typical people. So I competed in a physical fitness related activity with normal people. The first two people that were out were the snarky, skinny people who I think thought that they were necessarily going to win. They were out before me. I was like the third or the fourth person out, which fine, whatever. There were like 8 people competing. The guy who won, with his clothes on, I mean, I'm sure he was like buff underneath his clothes, but he looked a little older, a little chubby. He was actually a firefighter, and he planked for 8 minutes. So good for him. But that I actually competed in that was a huge moment for me. And that week in itself was big for me, because I think that was the first week where I didn't think of myself as overweight, and I didn't let that stand in my way from engaging in things. So that was cool. Okay, number 2, in no particular order. So that was 10. This is number 9, in no particular order. Before weight loss surgery, I had pretty much given up the idea of traveling. It was super uncomfortable. I couldn't walk very far. On one of my last few plane trips, had someone asked to be moved away from me. So I had really thought travel was off the table, particularly international travel. I had never traveled internationally, and in October of last year, I traveled to London for work. I traveled to London for work. It was a super first class event or trip. Um, I was there for a week. There was work to do, but not tons of work to do. I was all over the city. I was traveling internationally. I was in London. It was gorgeous. I actually went on my first Tinder date in London and met this great guy. And one of the most powerful moments was like the night before I left. And I was, like I said, I was there for a week, so we went out a few times. But the night before I left, we had invited me to a play. We had gone to a play, and we'd gone to a pub. And for some reason, the pubs like closed really early in London. I don't know if it was because it was a weeknight or what, but it like closed at like 11. And neither one of us really wanted the night to end. So we were like walking all over London, and it was so, romantic, movie kind of ish. I mean, it was just like this really wonderful night. And the thought that I would be walking around London with this man who I found, attractive and was smart and funny and was taking me to all these places in London was kind of crazy. So that was a big moment for me. Let's see. So being part of this isn't one moment. It's kind of like a collaboration or a group of things, but having Jennifer ask me to co-host The Naked Truth was really huge for me. I love being a part of this community in that way and giving back, and I have loved doing that show, and getting to know people and getting to know people's stories and finding my own sort of comfort level in that environment. And also, I haven't done this yet, so it isn't a moment for my second year. It'll be a moment for my third year. But, participating in WLSFA, I have 2 panels there. I'll also be doing a storytelling event there. That's huge for me. So that's cool. Naked Truth, WLSFA, cool. Like I said, this is in no order, as you can tell, because the chronology of it isn't very good either. My 50th birthday celebration. I don't usually celebrate my birthdays. I didn't have one party. I had 2, sort of. I mean, Chicago was everybody's thing, but I had a birthday party here in LA. Lindsay came out to visit. I had all my friends here. And one of the big things for me was I don't know, should I put this out here? Yeah, never mind. Anyway, just having that celebration and having all these people show up for me and feeling really loved and supported both in LA and Chicago around my birthday was really cool. And in Chicago, there were shirts. There were #LizPost shirts. If you haven't seen those, they're very cool. Okay, here's another thing. One of my, like international traveling, one of the things that I'd always wanted to do, but I never thought I would do, was be part of a storytelling event like The Moth. So if you don't know, The Moth is there are live events around the country where people tell their own personal stories without notes. And it's also a podcast on NPR. And if you don't listen to it, you should, because they're very cool. I had always wanted to do that. Well, I did. They had a storytelling competition in my town that I found out about that was this summer. And not only did I participate in it, but I won it. Yes, me. I did that. That was huge. And I'll be doing that at WLSFA as well. They're doing something like that. And so I will be doing that there. So if you guys are coming, you will see me tell a story. Not the same story that I told at that event. One that's more related to my weight loss surgery journey. Okay, this is like a silly thing. Well, I mean, it's not a silly thing, but it's a... Okay, so Chicago. Chicago this year was a wonderful trip. It was in part of my powerful moments last year. Last year was my first meet and greet without my security blanket, which is Patty, or at that time was. And I went this year. And now, I had established relationships with people. It was more like coming together to see old friends. But I am not someone who is great at or fond of sharing my emotions with other people. I know there are several people in my life who I have cried to on the phone over the last few weeks who would not believe that, but it really was truly the case. But so the last day of Chicago, which was a Sunday, right? So Saturday night, blah, blah, blah. We go down to breakfast. It had been a long night. People had already started to leave. And one of the people who is very, very, very dear to me is Kim Stephanopoulos. And she and Melly May also connected quite a bit. So in the middle, and so she had left. And in the middle of the Embassy Suites, and I'm sorry, Melly May, I hope you don't mind me telling this if you even watch this video. Melly May and I are hugging each other and crying in the middle of the Embassy Suites Hotel over breakfast about Kim leaving. Okay, that is so not me. And that's a powerful moment for me because it just talks about how much more open I am now than I ever was before. And that I was willing to show that I love somebody and that I was willing to share that experience with somebody else. So that was a big moment for me. All right, let's see. Okay, so Patty. Patty is my surgery sister. We had surgery a day apart. She's the one who introduced me to the YouTube community. We have had a gazillion moments. She's been there for me for a million things. And I was trying to think of the one that was most significant this year. And I don't know that this is the most significant, and it's also one of the most recent, but it really hit me when we were doing it. And it was just, I don't know, maybe like a week or two ago. Patty was making videos, and I was watching those before I ever started making videos. And in one of her pre-op videos, she talked about going shopping with her typical friends and, just being able to look at accessories. And one of the things that she wanted to do post-op was actually to shop with them and buy clothes and things like that. Well, we went out to lunch a week or two ago. And after lunch, we went to this boutique in Huntington Beach, and we went, oh, sorry, I forgot a part. Once she made that video, I remember either texting her or calling her and saying, I want to do that with you. I want us to go shopping together at a regular clothes store for regular clothes. And honest and truly, that idea seemed like, even though I was saying to her, that would never in a million years happen. I was never at that time, probably 360 pounds, I was never going to be shopping in a regular person store. Well, like a week or two ago, Patty and I were shopping in not just a regular store, but a little I think it was it's like a bathing suit boutique or whatever in Huntington Beach. And that was like the second or third time we've gone shopping together and I've bought clothes. But it just hit me that day, look, we're doing this. I actually bought this shirt in there. But that was a really powerful moment to me because truly when I said that to her, when she made that video, I really did not think that would ever in a million years happen. How long is this video? Oh, Jesus Christ, 18 minutes. Okay. Number 8, in no particular order. One of the really amazing friendships that has come to me this year, and this isn't a moment, it's more of like a lot of moments, is my friendship with Amy Gets a VSG. I mean, it's actually kind of surprising because our surgery dates are pretty far apart. But she commented on our videos, we connected, she came out to San Diego and we met in person, and I really feel like she is one of my closest and dearest friends right now. And it's a really important relationship to me. So, although it's not a particular moment, my friendship with her and that relationship is super important to me, so I wanted to make sure to recognize it. Okay. And the last two things, which I said were the only ones of this that were in any particular order. So the number 2 most powerful moment, and again, this is like multiple moments, in my second year post-op was falling in love. I didn't, I really didn't imagine that happening for me again. And I did, I met someone in early November. You've heard all about it. He's moving in 2 weeks, blah, 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 blah. But whatever, the powerful moment of it was just that I fell in love with him. And we have this really, just really amazing relationship that I've never had with anybody else. And I feel like I can be myself, which I never have ever in my life. And, one of the things that I realized a couple of weeks ago that I told some friends was, he is the first person ever. And I've been married and I've had, boyfriends, whatever. But I was always so afraid to ask for what I wanted from someone because I thought as soon as I showed my need, they would run away, that I had to be on my best behavior to keep them here with me. And, I'm fortunate that with him, that that I've trusted myself enough to do it and trusted him enough to do it. And every time, well, except for that time when I said, I really don't want you to move to New Hampshire, and he said he was doing it anyway. But anyway, the other times when I've said things to him about things that I needed, he has done it. He has responded, by saying, you're important to me, and yes, I will do that. And that's a first for me. And this relationship is very different from any that I've had. And although I'm sad to see it change, I'm not going to say it's going to end, but it's going to change because he's moving away. The fact that that this particular relationship happened has changed me forever. So that's a big, huge, giant, powerful moment. But the number one most powerful moment, and I've talked about this in a video before, and I think I talked about it in one of my Q&A videos about my most powerful NSV. But my son Ian is 19. His father was a musician. He's a musician. He started getting into that seriously when he was about 15 or 16. And he never invited me and actually vehemently opposed me going to hear him play music. So, at a certain point I gave up asking about it. But on the Saturday before Valentine's Day, he texted me and said, oh, Mom, I'm playing at this party in Laguna, and I think it would be a good place for you to come hear me play. And I'm like, what? You want me to come hear you play? And I don't know that this had to do with my weight, but for me it did. I mean, part of me thought, he wouldn't invite me to do this if I was as overweight as I used to be before. And I don't know if I would have come. Because even feeling cute and cool and whatever, I was the youngest person by like 25 years and I felt a little bit uncomfortable. But going to this event and hearing him perform his original songs that were very complex and complicated and had complicated lyrics, and the people who were in the audience were singing along with them. So obviously, they were fans. It was mind-blowing to me. I bawled through the whole thing. And I got in my car, and on the way driving home, I was like, wow, this was what weight loss surgery was about for me. Being able to see this part of him that is so important that I would have never been exposed to before. Because even if he would have invited me, I wouldn't have gone. I was like bawling the whole way home. And it's like, this is the NSV. This is the ultimate NSV. This being part of my son's life in this way. And so it's not just that. I mean, this was a red letter night. And this actually, if you guys are going to be in Nashville, this is actually a big part of my story that I'm going to be telling. So sorry, spoiler. But so I get home, so I'm crying the whole way back from Laguna. I'm so happy. I'm just so full of love for my son. And I get home and it's late, and I knew that Brian, the guy I'm seeing, is going to be asleep already. But I still text him when I get home, and I'm like, oh my God, I was bawling the whole way home. This was so amazing. I got to see him play music or whatever. And I come in and I go to bed, and at like 1 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings. I'm like, what? Who is this calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning? And it's Brian. And he had misread my text to think that I was upset about something when I had said I was crying, and he was calling to check on me. And the two things just combined of, being part of my son's moment and seeing how much he loved this and thinking about his dad and what his dad who's passed away, his dad would have thought about this. And then coming home and having this man I love call me because he thought I was upset in the middle of the night just to make sure I was okay. It was like, okay, this is what Valentine's Day is all about. Yeah. So anyway, that's 2 years. Thank you guys for listening to me so much this week into this super long video. It's probably going to take 3 hours to upload. And I'm going to go to bed, so it's going to upload while I'm asleep. But I love you guys so much. I can't even tell you. All right, so here's to another year. Talk to you later. Bye.